Thank you, Dream Team.
There he is.
All right. All right, Dave. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back. Nice to hear everybody's voice again.
Yeah, what an environment.
The market never lets us sleep, huh? Always different.
Yeah. So I look forward to talking to you because, you have the ability to focus in on sectors that are out of favor, that you're looking for some type of turn. So uranium was, your first, when you first came on, you were talking about the uranium stocks, a year or so ago. And we had a pop yesterday. I follow you, Roy, I believe it is.
Sure. Uranium Royalty Corp.
Yeah. What was the news? Is it just Russia?
Well, we've talked about the supply and demand fundamentals that are at levels that would suggest that whether Russia, Ukraine happened or not, uranium was ripe for a very, very strong breakout move to the upside. But the catalyst here just makes things potentially go much faster, much quicker, and much sooner. And so, yes, it's Russia. Russia produces about and exports about 20% of the world's uranium. So if Russia starts sanctioning uranium exports and some of the enrichment that they do, then that creates a huge catalyst. But what's unique about this trade right now, just from a fundamental standpoint, is even if Russia doesn't do the sanctions on the uranium export, utilities cannot count on Russia anymore. And they realize this now. And more recently, 2 days ago, Germany came out and they said that they're going to start strongly considering extending the life of their nuclear reactors, which they had said that they would shut down because Germany's stuck, right? They can't rely on Russian gas. Well, what are you going to do? Yeah. So Germany is one of the biggest, if not the biggest countries in the world in terms of nuclear fuel use back in the last cycle. And then they've effectively shut themselves off.
Yeah, this has been kind of a watershed event for Germany in many ways. They're building up their defense budget, and they went along with the pipeline. And really, I think that Germany is on the verge. They already are the euro. I think they're going to become, even more dominant as they build up their military. It's almost like we're in a time machine. So, Germany and Russia have some deep memories historically. They both invaded each other's countries.
Yeah. As a student of history, this is all very, very eerie. And families from that part of the world. So it's very tragic to watch it repeat itself once again.
Yeah. So uranium, the marijuana stocks are way out of favor. No one talks about them anymore. Do you see any kind of heartbeat in any of those?
Well, precisely. Actually, in my weekend review, we cover the marijuana stocks every single weekend. And here's a chart. Here's a weekly chart of the marijuana ETF based in Canada, the HMMJ. And as you see here, and I apologize for using a small screen. Kids and family are sleeping in my office right now. But in any event, this is the marijuana ETF. And you see here that we are in a massive cup and handle formation. Now, I'm going to let the market tell me when this is going to break out over here around that 6 to 630 level. But when that breaks out, you're going to see a major move to the upside. And if it's backed by fundamentals versus just deep value investors, then you can get a sharp move, potentially all the way back to this 20 level.
Like Congress doing something so they could have bank accounts?
Well, precisely. In fact, I was talking to some investors in the marijuana space, and they're pretty confident that something's going to happen in these next 2 years. Of course, it's the election cycle. We've got a lame duck president. What way to potentially get something done, but, with marijuana to stimulate that voter base?
Yeah. Well, how about the government's huge deficits and looking for another revenue source? The states are doing pretty good, right?
Yeah. We'll take California, for example, right? The states are doing pretty good, but they're so dependent on technology and the revenue from Silicon Valley. Well, if technology as it has over the last couple of months just been creamed, then where are you going to get revenue from other than tech? Right. So they have to diversify. And the key here is diversification, right? Whether it's countries and their energy sources or tax bases, et cetera. I think it's very important into the cycle that we're going into.
Okay.
So, go ahead,
Go
Dale.
ahead. No, go ahead.
So I just wanted to show you what I'm seeing on the charts with regard to uranium. And it's just very timely that we're having this conversation. Here's the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. And I'll just zoom out into a monthly chart here. You see here the rounded bottom that we had, and that we are just now on the edge here. I'll just delete this. We're on the very edge, in my opinion, precipice of breaking out above the 16 level, and then it's effectively blue sky from there. I could see us at 25 very, very quick. Now, I would have said we would have gotten there regardless of the Russia situation, but you can see how quickly this catalyst can really spur things forward. Now, unlike oil rather, that sector is pretty saturated, right? Most of the
it's the most crowded trade on the board.
Exactly right. Whereas very few people are talking about uranium, and I think that space is starting. The hedge funds, I know, just privately, the hedge funds are starting to buy en masse in the uranium space, and it's very early. Here, take a look at the URA ETF. That's the Global Uranium ETF. And if you just extend this back, monthly chart from 2011, these are the Fukushima highs. It was over 140, and you see how much it's fallen. And we're just right now starting to potentially break out of this pattern. And we're up another couple percentage points pre-market. But if we break above this 20 previous highs around 30 here, I mean, that's blue sky territory. And again, very few people outside of my community, the Twitter uranium community, are really talking about it. Similarly, on a similar trade is rare earth metals. I remember back in 2007 where the rare earth market was just exploding higher, right? And not too many people are talking about it now, but here's a monthly chart of the rare earth chart from 2011, right? Similar to uranium, kind of blue sky potential here. So those are the three areas that I'm really looking at. I mean, you have commodities right now like lithium and anything that's tied to clean energy is starting to, I mean, has the supply and demand fundamentals, but again, the Russian invasion here has been a catalyst for a lot of these to really reignite.
Are you disappointed with what's happening in Russia? The underperformance of the silver miners? I know you follow those too.
You know what? You took the words straight out of my mouth. During my weekend review, I said that I would be actually quite cautious on gold and silver right now in terms of trading the miners, because first you look at the monthly breakout or the monthly chart here on gold, right? That looks like a beautiful cup and handle breakout that I would expect to see well above 2000. Yet when you look at the gold majors here, they're barely moving. And yes, I mean, they're potentially breaking out here and maybe there's a catalyst that takes them, but bottom line is there's not that leadership that I would expect to see from the miners. And when you look at the silver majors here,
it's worse.
It's worse, right? They're all the way at the bottom of this channel. So whereas I would expect them to be here around the 50 level. So from my vantage point, there's too much risk to be invested in the miners right now. I'd rather, if I were a believer, and I am, of gold, given the geopolitical
buy a
risk.
flush, Dave.
That's right.
Wait for one more washout. Maybe silver trades under that 2140 level, and the miners. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, wait for the flush, or just buy call options on the metal. They're probably pretty expensive now, but there's a lot less risk than holding miners if there is that last flush out.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm known as an interrupter. I'm working on it.
No problem at all. And then here's copper here. Copper is also very interesting. We're very, very close to a very strong breakout. Here are the copper miners, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see leadership quality. on these moves. And I'm not seeing in gold and silver, but copper I am. So find these miners like Freeport McMoran, right? That have exposure to gold, but have exposure to copper. And I think you're going to be in great shape. I mean, look at this copper monthly chart. We're basing here at the very highs. And once we break out above roughly here around 480, 490, I mean, that's a major move to the upside and to all-time highs. So really, those are the areas that I'm watching. I think that there is some value, believe it or not, in growth tech like the ARC ETF and so on. I'm watching Bitcoin as your panelists, co-panelists have said. I mean, these are some very interesting channels and very pure technical channels. And this is a breakout. Make no mistake about it. I mean, we're at 44,500 right now. And I think we're probably going back to 60,000, if not higher, on the heels of these geopolitical sanctions.
Yeah, I've been noticing that, the last high we had was a second drive. You see how your stuff didn't confirm your RSI. Yeah, it looks exactly like, it comes in threes. So that would imply a new high.
Yeah. I think that's where we're headed. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of these areas. Going back to uranium when we last spoke back in November, and I think that's when it was, perhaps it was January.
Yeah.
Don't remember this point, but we had what happens often is you have this secondary attempt at a breakout, and for whatever reason, momentum just doesn't follow. I think a weekly chart would show that better, right? We had this breakout here on 30, but momentum just couldn't quite make a new high, and sell off we did. And now we found support, and now we're going back to retest those previous highs and very likely going to break them on the third attempt.
Great looks today, Dave, like usual. Really, and your demeanor, you have a great demeanor for being a trader. Were you born with that paradigm, or did you have to work on becoming detached and objective?
I probably a combination of both, and I appreciate. I think it's rooted in the fact that I'm at the end of it all, I'm a fundamental investor, right? I like fundamentals. I like supply and demand. I like studying balance sheets. But I think technicals really tell you where the markets are likely headed, and they give you the probabilities that are so critical.
Best way for people to follow your great work?
Well, it's at Twitter, at Moneyology, MONIOLOGY. And then you can find us on Patreon /Moneyology. But Twitter, we're very active there, and you can DM me, and I try to be active with the community as much as I possibly can.
Okay, and you do, like you said, you have a group that you get together. You were talking about that you recently had one, and I took the words out of your mouth regarding the silver miners. Is there a fee to join that?
Yeah, well, we don't have an active feed due to other obligations I have, but on Patreon, I do make weekly videos. I tend to make about 3 videos a week on various different sectors, but over the weekend, we do a weekend review where we analyze all these various different charts from multiple timeframes and try to get a better sense of what the market's trying to tell us. And very often it's unclear, like where we are today. But once in a while, you find some of these diamonds in the rough, like marijuana. And if you catch the trend at the right time, you can make a really nice income.
Well, Dave, I want to thank you for donating your views and your hard work and your great looks, and for the community to consider other things that you brought to the table today. So thank you, my trading warrior brother.
Dale, always a pleasure. Stay safe, and let's hope this whole conflict resolves peacefully very soon.
Here's my expression with hope, Dave. Hope is the oxygen in our lives and the carbon monoxide in our trading.
That's I'll put that on my wall. That's a great one.
All right, buddy.
Okay, take care. Stay safe.
We'll get together again in the summer. All right.
Look forward to it.
All right.
Take care, buddy.
Everyone, Dave at Moneyology is where you could follow him on Twitter. Great looks in uranium, and my favorite sector is marijuana shares. So you could join the team in 27 minutes. And it's not always how long an interview is. It's quality, not quantity, right? Dave got it done. So everyone go out there and get a piece of uranium and glow. Let's glow before Vladimir makes us glow. All right. Adios, everyone. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Good luck on Turnaround Tuesday. Adios. Thank you, Dave.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.